Hello and welcome to the webinar for the request for technical support 1 from the TEAMER program. My name is Matt Sanders. I'm the program director at the Pacific Ocean Energy Trust. Start with a little background on what TEAMER is. Essentially, TEAMER has three main bullets, three main points that we want to emphasize. The first of those would be access to testing infrastructure to provide device developers with access to a wide range of pre-certified facilities at minimal cost, and allow for a much faster and more streamlined integration of physical testing and validation into the design process. Additionally, we want to provide access to world-class expertise by pairing technology companies with the nation's leading marine energy experts, providing assistance in the design and execution of tests, and understanding the implication of results for future design iterations. Lastly, to implement consistent testing protocols for use in the facility network and to create a repository of marine energy performance data that will serve the industry as a whole. Essentially, TEAMER is a 3-year testing campaign to provide access to U.S. marine energy testing facilities and technical expertise to assist with numerical modeling and data collection in operational and extreme conditions. Some of the anticipated features of the program are that we have approximately $13 million to support over hopefully 100 different marine energy projects at a host of TEAMER facilities, hopefully 20 plus facilities once we're all said and done. Looking to provide thousands of hours of technical assistance and targeting assistance for early stage technologies, including numerical modeling, bench testing, tank testing, open water testing in future rounds, as well as devices or cross-cutting areas such as power takeoff systems, grid integration, environmental effects, materials, or moorings. And lastly, goal of TEAMER is for the data to be distributed publicly following the completed assistance activity. The makeup of the TEAMER team, as we like to call ourselves internally, we have the management team, which is represented by the technical board. So you can see the technical board has 3 different groups associated with it, starting with the Water Power Technologies Office at the Department of Energy. WPTO provides the overall TEAMER program lead. They are the overall TEAMER program lead, setting the strategic vision and providing oversight of the project. The National Marine Energy Centers are providing access to testing and expertise, as well as participating in the review process for applications, as well as helping to establish the TEAMER program. And you have representatives from Sandia National Laboratories, Pacific Northwest National Labs, as well as the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, who are also providing access and technical expertise to the applicants, as well as helping the network director and the WPTO to establish the TEAMER program. In the middle of all this sits the network director. That's us. We're the Pacific Ocean Energy Trust. We're an organization that has been involved in marine energy for approximately the last 15 years. We're based in Portland, Oregon. And we were awarded the network director position for the TEAMER program in late 2019. Our primary goal is to establish a facility network, and then as well as to develop the TEAMER technical processes, generally to operate the TEAMER program as we move forward. And then you see the additional network partners. These will be the facilities who will provide the testing and expertise to the participants of the program, who are the developers and researchers. A few important dates to note for the first request for technical support. The application period opened on May 26th, last week, and it will close July 31st, 2020. This is approximately a 2-month application period for the first request for technical support. We don't anticipate to leave these open for 2 months in the future, but being that this was the first RFTS, it's a new program, new facilities, a lot of things that we're still learning about the program. We wanted to provide a longer access period for the applications to come in. So that'll close July 31st, and then the review period, we're expecting to take approximately 2 months for this first round as well. We do anticipate that running a little faster in the future as well. But notifications will be sent to applicants no later than September 30th, 2020, which will then lead into a planning period So we're allowing 2 months for developers to work with facilities to finalize their test plans, as well as secure and finalize any of the agreements that are necessary for access to the facilities. Quick note that if that planning period, if the plan is completed and approved by the network director prior to November 30th, then the technical support activities may commence if possible. And then lastly, the testing period would, with this schedule, run from approximately December of 2020 through February of 2021, with the note being that this is the period in which the testing and expertise must commence, but it's not necessarily required that it'll finish during this time. The goal of the program is to provide access to developers for immediate needs of their technology development. We don't necessarily want to award funding and opportunities for things that aren't urgent. We want to see a lot of testing take place. There will be continuous RFTSs over the next 2.5 years. We anticipate releasing the next round of funding likely in the fall of 2020, and then every 3 to 4 months after that. So if there's something that you see a timeline for development that may be 6 months out, it's likely best to wait for the next round of funding for that rather than to rush it into this RFTS cycle. The TEAMER rules, this is all available on the TEAMER website, so I don't necessarily want to read through this word for word. Generally speaking, though, the rule, the second bullet there stating that TEAMER funding for facility use is provided directly to the TEAMER facility, not to those seeking assistance. So POET, the network director's agreements are with the facilities, and we will provide funding to the facility to provide access for the developer who is doing the testing. All funding is allotted for testing. TEAMER funding is not available for manufacturing or design of marine energy devices. Once approved by the network director, technical support recipients must enter into an agreement with the facility. We recommend that you consult with the facility prior to applying to ensure that you're aware of their any additional requirements that may come from each facility. Each facility is going to be different and have different requirements on data, on intellectual property, on different access requirements for their facility. So it's best to make sure that you can agree to those before submitting an application. We will ask that during the testing period, you provide us with reasonable access. We'd like to document testing that is taking place with photographs, different things, different marketing purposes for the TEAMER program. Intellectual property will be governed by the TEAMER Intellectual Property Management Plan, which is available on the TEAMER website. We recommend that you take a look at that before you apply. And then lastly, that all testing or expertise must begin within 90 days of the award. Eligibility for the TEAMER program is available. Eligibility is available to anyone, regardless of their country of origin. We do just recommend that international applicants consult with their facility to determine if there's any access restrictions for international applicants that may either slow the process or there might be certain facilities that restrict access to international applicants. So we do ask that you make sure that the international applicants have consulted with the facility to understand what the process will be for them to test at that facility. Employees DOE and DOE, NNN, NSA, FFRDCs are not eligible to apply for TEAMER. In order to be considered for participation in the TEAMER program, applicants must first consult with a pre-approved test facility to determine whether their test is within the capabilities of that facility. This is a really key point. It's a requirement in the application process that you work with a facility prior to submitting your application. And then in addition, you must submit an RFTS application, which is now available. We make that available during the application period. Anyone who hasn't consulted with the facility prior to the application will not be eligible for TEAMER assistance. Quickly to talk about what types of testing and expertise are available under TEAMER, and then just a quick talk about budgets and what to expect for that. First of all, applicants must apply for assistance in one of the 4 following categories, either numerical modeling and analysis, laboratory and bench testing, tank flume, tunnel, or basin testing, as well as open water, which is not available for RFTS 1, but will be available in future requests for technical support. As far as funding goes, since the funding goes to the facility and not to the applicant, we're not asking for funding budget requests in the application. So that leaves some generalizations that might be made over what funding is available. We like to think of it as currently there's about $13 million in the program, and we hope to fund over 100 different marine energy projects. In general, we expect the majority of the awards will fall within the $25,000 to $250,000 range, with durations lasting between 2 weeks and 6 months, depending on the type of assistance. These costs and time projections are meant to be guidelines. They do not represent formal constraints, and individual projects will vary based on the facility rates and the type of project. The most critical consideration, I'll mention it again, is the applicants work with the facilities prior to submitting their application to ensure the scope is realistic and likely to be successful within the available resources. TEAMER facilities. Only facilities listed on the TEAMER website are available for RFTS 1. Those facilities have an existing track record with the Department of Energy, either as national labs or NIMRICs, or as facilities that were involved in recent testing and characterization initiatives. So these are facilities that have a track record of working with the Department of Energy. Additional facilities will be available for future RFTSs, but what you see currently available on the TEAMER website is what will be available for RFTS 1. We do plan to offer approved open water facilities in future RFTSs. We're still developing the guidance for how that's going to work, though. The application review process will follow some of these guidelines. First off, that the applicants are required, again, to consult with the preferred facility prior to submitting an application. The applicant should ensure the facility is capable of executing the requested testing or expertise needs, and the applicants need to work with the facility point of contact to schedule access during the RFTS period. The review process will entail the network director will only be involved in the review to assure that the application is compliant. Essentially, we're going to make sure that the word counts are respected, that the contact information is available, that any attachments are attached as appropriately. But we will not be, the network director will not have any say in the review of the applications itself. Once we receive an application, we will work with the facility point of contacts, and they will be providing us what we're calling a letter of response, which will verify that the applicant has consulted with the facility and that the proposed activity from the applicant is within the capabilities of that facility. Then applications will be reviewed by an independent panel of reviewers, and notifications with comments will be sent to both successful and unsuccessful applicants. To apply to the TEAMER network, we suggest you go to teamerus.org/how-to-apply and be sure to read and understand the requirements on that page. When you're ready to apply, go to the application page, as you can see listed there, to download the application. If you look at the graphic below, you click on that link and you'll actually download a PDF, a fillable PDF that we're asking you to complete and then submit that as your application. Within that PDF, there is the option to attach files to the PDF. Please feel free please read the instructions on the application and feel free to attach appropriate attachments to that file, which can then all be saved and submitted via the TEAMER website. If anyone has any questions, if there are any technical challenges, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll do our best to work with you to make this process work for everybody. There's a brief picture of the front page of the application on the right there. Once you've completed the application, please be sure to save it with a unique file name. This is just an example, but have something referring to your company name and the date is helpful for us. And then after completing the application document, be sure to fill in all the fields on the website, as you'll see there. upload the application document to the site and then read the fine print there at the bottom, click the box, and submit your application that way. Once we receive the application, we will send you a verification that we've received your application. It's not an immediate process, so it might take us 24 hours to respond to you, but we will notify you that your application has been received. After the review period, successful applicants will then enter the planning period, which will be before the testing period. But after an application is accepted, we'll stop calling you applicants and we'll start calling you technical support recipients. Upon acceptance of the application, the TSRs are then required to submit a detailed test plan to the network director. The TSRs should work with the facility to complete this requirement, and facility managers will be required to sign off on the test plan prior to acceptance by the TEAMER program and network director. We want to make sure that what's being proposed as a test is verified by the facility managers, that they've either helped create it or they've reviewed it and making sure that it's capable within their facility. We will provide a test plan template on our website. This will solicit the required information that we're looking for as the network director, as the TEAMER program, to ensure that we know what the test plan entails. That'll be available on the website soon, well before the planning period here is going to commence. TSRs may be required, and so this next section talks briefly about what type of agreements the TSR should expect. TSRs may be required to execute some type of agreement with the facility. Agreement types may vary per institution, and we encourage the applicants to inquire during the proposal period on what they should expect from that facility. Each facility may have different requirements, as we've discussed earlier. Since TEAMER funding will go directly to the facility, the network director will have an agreement in place with the facilities to reimburse them for their facility usage. And lastly, the network director may also execute an agreement with the technical support recipient to reimburse for travel and expenses if we deem necessary. After the testing period, we do have a few post-access and data requirements that are part of this agreement between POET and the applicant or the TSRs. TSRs are required to complete, hopefully within 60 days of the completion of the activity at a facility. These post-access requirements, including completion of a post-access report. Again, we will be providing a template for this post-access report. And secondly, as well as uploading to the DOE Marine and Hydrokinetic Data Repository, all data demonstrating progress towards meeting the objectives identified in Section 8 of the TSR application. So when you're filling out your application, please note what data you plan to provide to TEAMER after the testing has been completed, as well as any data needs to be uploaded to MHKDR, data and scripts used to generate any figures, tables, or charts in the final report. This way, we're not just uploading a bunch of raw data that has no significance. We want it to be relevant. That's why any data that would be used to generate those figures or tables is made available publicly. TSRs are advised that artificially limiting the number of figures in the final report to avoid disclosing underlying data will be considered non-compliant with final reporting requirements and will not be approved. Lastly, completion of a post-access questionnaire, which we will provide to the TSRs upon completion of their assistance. Last page here, questions about TEAMER or how to apply. First off, we ask that you check out the frequently asked questions page on the TEAMER website, as well as there's also, we've started a list of questions that have come in about the RFTS application or other questions that have been submitted to us so far at TEAMER from applicants. As you can see on the how to apply page, if you look at the graphic there, we'll be updating that. That's a spreadsheet that you'll download on the how to apply page, and we'll be updating that daily as we're getting questions. So that's a great place to look. If you have a question, maybe it's already been asked and answered. If not, we'll go ahead and answer it probably both to you via email as well as documented on that spreadsheet. Lastly, additional questions can be submitted either via the contact form on the website, or feel free to email us directly at teamer@pacificoceanenergy.org. We ask that you please don't hesitate to reach out at any time. We're here to help, and the goal is to make this program work for everybody involved. It's a new program. It's a program that we anticipate running for at least the next 2.5 years. We want to make it successful, both for the Department of Energy's water power program, as well as for the industry itself. So please reach out, provide us with any questions or comments about what works for you. We'll do our best to accommodate. Thank you, everybody. Good luck with your applications. We look forward to seeing them by July 31st. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.